Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Helen.
Where are you?
I'm in New York City on the Upper East Side.
Awesome. I'm in Wisconsin. So she's supposed to be coming back. One of the reasons we're not with you today is that she travels all day on Trans Day of Visibility, and I'm actually hosting an event at Lawrence where I work. So, hi, everyone. Okay, so first question. What was your experience like taping the interview, and how was it working with Kai and the rest of the team? You go first.
Uh, I know that we both said this on Instagram and in various social media things, but we like legit fell back in love with each other during the taping of that, which was amazing and awesome, and it proved my point that love is this thing that does this. Um, and we're still in love with each other, even now with all of the weirdness that is in the world and the stress of our own particular lives. Um, so that was like my big takeaway. I was like, oh, I love my wife. That's amazing. But the other one was everybody was really lovely. It was like walking into a room full of care and kindness and a little spiky energy because we're queer, all of us. Um, and there was something delightful about that. It just felt like I just did this last Monday night a benefit reading of this seminal lesbian play from 1980 called Last Summer at Bluefish Cove. And it was a cast of lesbian and queer women. And that was the whole room. And that was the last time I felt that same sense of, oh God, how nice is this? Was the taping of In the Midst of. So there's real value in sort of like doing a creative thing with your people.
I mean, especially considering that we've done all sorts of other media that maybe wasn't as friendly, or that it was like, are you waiting? Like, I've done local interviews with news media and things like that. And it's always like, I have to say exactly the right thing, or they figure out a way to make me look like an idiot. So, we didn't have any of that doing this taping, which was great. So,
No.
and it's just a pleasure always to work with only trans people and queer people. So, yeah. How do I feel now? How do you feel now that the video has been released? And any updates about us as a couple? So I feel like she covered that. We fell in love with each other again. But for me, it's like just utterly bizarre to see 21,000 views on a like an 18-minute long interview with us. And the other funny thing is that I've had a lot of people who are like, I want the full uncut version. Like they want to watch the whole hour and a half that we taped. And I'm like, people
I
are
don't know
glutton for
that you really
punishment.
want
But
that.
yeah.
Editing is not a bad thing.
Fair. So how do you feel about the video being released?
I'm delighted. I'm delighted that a lot of people have responded to it. It makes me very happy that our story resonates for people and maybe gives them hope or a sense of you can make it through or whatever that is. And I think mostly I'm personally just delighted to be a part of this series because I have been utterly charmed by watching everyone else.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, no, it's fun to watch us and we're goobers and we laugh too much. And, I talked way too much, but that because it was the morning and you're not a morning person. Um,
And if they'd done it at 4, I would have been much more talkative and you would have been the quieter one.
exactly.
So,
But there's something really delightful about these last weeks of like this constant drop of love and beauty and funny and poignant and gorgeous, but ultimately human. So I think on some level, the thing I like most about the video is that I'm a part of this thing that is really undeniable about like, y'all are freaking out about nothing, man. We just people. Look, everybody just people.
we laugh with each other. We, are nervous for each other, all of the regular things. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, I have said I am cool, which is, when you're not 22 and you have 18-year-old students and they're like, didn't I just see you in a viral video? And I'm like, wait, did one of them go viral? I guess, sure. But yeah, students, younger people think I'm cool again. So, and that's always very useful if you work with young people to not be the like, very old person who doesn't understand anything or has nothing in common with them and stuff. So that's kind of nice. Any comments on the current state of trans rights in this country? Any
Jesus.
any good words of hope?
So it's funny because I thought about this one when I saw the question was in the video I had talked about how back in the day it was worse. And I had a moment where I questioned myself. I was like, was it?
Mm.
And I came to the conclusion that yes, it was worse. Yes, now they are legislating against us, but they legislated against us back in the day. Yes, now we're like the hot button issue that the right wing uses to motivate voters, but there's always been a marginalized group that gets to be the hot button that motivates scared people. Um,
And
and as
it's
much
not
as
and
I,
it's not just trans people right now. It's so many kinds of people. I
oh,
mean,
no, it's
it's
others.
like
You're
everybody. There's
not
so
just,
many people under attack right now. So
yeah, exactly. And the other thing was, the thing that we have now, and this is true for older trans people, for younger trans people, for basically everybody, I think, is people know trans people now to some degree. Your neighbors, there's a better chance they've met a trans person or have one in their family.
or know a
And I,
famous one, or
or
yeah.
whatever that is. And I think there's genuine progress and value in the fact that we are now known as people to so many people, whereas back in the day, we were just weirdo freaks.
Right. I used to say that I wrote my book so that we could go to a party without having to do trans 101. And the reality is that's, 20 years ago, but it really wasn't. It's like people had never heard of people who transitioned, and maybe they heard of cross dressers, but it was from a Law and Order. Like all of the stereotypes were negative, and so few people knew someone who had transitioned that just explaining your existence was exhausting and time consuming. And I really, I got to the point where it was like, either read the book or I'm going to hit you over the head with it, because I want to just go to things and go to parties and hang out and be here with my awesome wife without having to explain who we are or how we dare to exist. And I don't think we do that half as much anymore. Like it's not
God, no, I
surprising to
don't.
people. So
No,
that's I mean that's a good change, but
it's a great change. And it's like, yes, there's a lot of stress out there for trans people. And I can imagine that for younger trans people, because you and I obviously didn't grow up with these goddamn things in our hands.
yeah,
I guess there's a spate of articles going out about how Gen X used to run around like wild children.
well we
I
did.
did. And the younger trans folk are just under, I think, an immense amount of pressure societally just because of the things that we have now. And I just send out all of my love, and I just want everybody to take deep breaths, know people love you, that people will have your back if you let them know that you need their back. There's always people out there. And when we were coming up through all of this, that wasn't true. And so, on some level, yeah, no, things really are better, even though it feels like because there's a tsunami of bad news all the time. But what you see and read doesn't always reflect reality. And reality is people in small towns, in red states, there is a chance they might get to meet somebody who's also queer or different and be able to bond. But that's always, on some level, been true. But I think now it's just more important. And I feel like progress is one of those crazy goddamn things. It's two steps forward, three steps back, three steps forward, one step back. It's never easy or understandable, and it's messy, but there has been so much progress made that,
Right.
yeah, no, shit's weird, but I also think it's worth kind of going, go fuck yourself. I don't want to buy into the panic.
And as someone who taught feminist theory and history, I would always remind students that the suffragists themselves, none of them got to see women get the right to vote.
That's
It
right.
doesn't mean their work didn't matter or didn't count and didn't absolutely blow the world wide open with how cool that was, right? So that they didn't see it, they knew what the goal was, and they knew that they were working for a better thing in the future. And I think always trying to keep that in mind, no matter your age. I mean, we've been in this work for 20 plus years at this point, and it comes and goes and all of that, but it's the reality is the more people meet trans people, the more people know about trans lives, the more people love trans people. And I swear that that's true despite the cynical posturing of the right wing right now, is that really the majority of people think trans people are fucking awesome because they are. So,
Goddamn.
yeah. Happy Trans Day of Visibility, everybody.
Happy
Sorry we couldn't
Trans
be
Day of
with you, but
Visibility.
thanks for letting us join in this weird way. So, bye, y'all.
Bye.